Hey, do you want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere and even earn money all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating right now. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, and when you want to take your conversation with your fans to the next level, Q&A and polls are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. I've hosted my podcast on Spotify for Podcasters since day one, so I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today. Okay, question. Do you like the music I use for the podcast? Be honest, y'all. Well, I love it, and I get all of my dope beats from Epidemic Sound. If you're looking for the perfect music for your podcast, Instagram videos, TikTok, YouTube channels, or anything royalty-free in general, I am telling y'all, Epidemic Sound is the way to go. Affirmations for Black Girls is proudly brought to you by Epidemic Sound, the ultimate music library for creators. All of my favorite creators use it, so I decided to start using it too, and the curated albums and themes literally blew me away, y'all. I can literally go on there and search songs for podcasting or songs for blog videos or listen to curated lists featuring Black artists. Now, I have been using Epidemic Sound for almost 5 years now, and I can honestly say I swear by it. You get high quality royalty free sounds, a wide range of genres, moods, and even sound effects. So today, if you use my link down in the show notes, you can try Epidemic Sound for free for 30 days and see how you like it. And yes, everything you use the music on for your free trial remains royalty free, even if you don't stick around for the subscription. But you guys know that I do not share anything that I do not swear by, so give it a try and let your girl know what you think. Oh, and the sound effects and the track used on this ad are also from Epidemic Sound. And once again, the link for your 30-day free trial of Epidemic Sound is linked down below in the show notes. Now, let's get back into the episode. Last week marked the celebration of another year of life for me, and with it came a healing that had been long overdue. For most of my life, I carried a deep belief within me, the belief that I was not that important. This belief took root through the painful experiences of people who I'd considered friends not showing up for me. It was an invisible wound, one that had silently festered since my 5th grade year. I never realized just how deeply it had cut me until recently. But now, after shedding so many tears, sharing countless laughs, and relentlessly pushing away doubt and fear, I stand on the brink of something transformative. Today, I am not just celebrating another year, I am reclaiming my joy of celebrating me. What is going on, beautiful people? You are listening to the Affirmations for Black Girls podcast, where we focus on personal growth and cultivating a healthy relationship with ourselves. I am your host, Tyra, the creative actress, content creator, and mental health enthusiast. And the purpose of the podcast has never been more prevalent than today. This podcast is all about cultivating a healthy relationship with ourselves. And based on the title and the opening, you already know we're talking about reclaiming joy when it comes to celebrating yourself and putting yourself first and loving on you. When I was in the 5th grade, which was around 2004, 2005, I had a birthday party. Well, let me give you some backstory. So I love a good celebration. I love to host in my, late 20s, but even when I was younger, my mom and dad really allowed me and my brother to throw parties and have guests over, have sleepovers, and just have fun. But after my 5th grade year, I no longer wanted to celebrate my birthday. And that was kind of hard because my brother's birthday is 2 days before mine. He's my younger brother. We're Irish twins. We are 363 days apart. So we're the same age for 2 days every single year. And after 5th grade, I didn't want to celebrate my birthday because that year, no one showed up for me. We'll dive into it a little bit more when we get into the full on episode. But on September 14th, 2023, your girl entered the last year of her 20s. And I am so glad that I entered my 29th year this year because I get to be 29 for 366 days, y'all, because next year is a leap year. But before we continue to dive a little deeper into this, let's jump into our affirmation of the week. This week's affirmation is, I am deeply loved. Let's go ahead and drop in, you guys. I am deeply loved. 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 What does it mean to be loved deeply? What does that look like for you? What does that feel like to you? I am deeply loved. I am deeply loved. Even if this is uncomfortable for you to say, let's say it together one last time. I am deeply loved. Oh, you guys, you are deeply loved. You are loved beyond measure. Even if you do not feel it, even if you do not know 5 people that love you deeply off the top of your head, God loves you. I love you. You are deeply loved. Oh, I love this affirmation so much. And it just started to play in my head after my birthday party. I just said, wow, I am loved so deeply. People do want to show up for me. People do care about me. People do love me. People do think I'm dope. This is not really a belief I had for the longest. And it's something that I'm still learning right now. I won't even say that I am 100% in this belief. But I tell you what, my birthday party that I just had was definitely the opening door, the missing puzzle piece I needed to feel this way about myself. I'm loved. You're loved. We are all so deeply loved. Hey, AFBG family. We absolutely love hearing from you and want to know your thoughts. Send us your burning questions, topic suggestions, or even share your personal stories at affirmationsforblackgirls@gmail.com. We might feature them in an upcoming episode, and your voice matters, so shoot us your story and let's dive deeper and create a space where your experiences and perspectives are celebrated. You're on my mind. So, for today's episode, I just really wanted to talk to you guys because this whole experience of reclaiming my joy and healing this childhood trauma attached to my birthday celebrations have it my birthday has always been very nerve-wracking after 5th grade. I've touched on it before in the past, about my birthday last year, and I've talked about my birthday the year before. And I know a lot of people out there have anxiety and stress associated with their birthdays because you want it to be a certain way, you want people to show up for you. And specifically on your birthday, since it's just about you turning another year, if people don't show up, it kind of hurts just a little bit more than any other occasion might. So, I wrote down 3 questions that I'm going to go through to just share my thought process and how I came to today to be having a birthday party after so long. So, to take you guys through the story, it all started in 2005. And my brother and I had a joint birthday party. I was in the 5th grade, he was in the 4th grade, and we each got to invite, I think it was 10 or 12 people, however many invitations come in a pack at Walmart. We each got to pick out our own invitations and invite our own friends. Now, in 2005, when I was in 5th grade, I was still hanging out with some of my friends that were not in advanced placement classes because it's only elementary school. But in the 4th grade and beginning of 5th grade, I didn't really make good grades. I hung out with a lot of kids that didn't really put a lot of effort into school. We would do other things, play in class, things, just being kids instead of really putting our education first. So the friends that I had weren't necessarily the types of people that I would hang out with today, or even when I got to middle school. So I was in a weird phase, and I'll also touch on something my therapist said about those kids at that time. But I invited these girls to my party, and it was either 10 or 12, and none of them came. Not one showed up to my birthday party. And all of my brother's friends came. We did have mutual friends who were mainly boys, and we had one mutual friend that was a girl, and she did come. She was invited by my brother, by PJ. So in my 5th grade head, my 11-year-old head, nobody showed up for Tyra. They showed up for PJ. And that really hurt me deeply because I was starting to go through puberty and I was noticing how I looked and all of this stuff. And it just really made me say, what is wrong with me? Why didn't anyone show up for me? Is it because I'm fat? Is it because I was a chubby child? Is it because I'm fat? Is it because I'm not cool? Is it because I'm not a boy? What is it? I had all of these thoughts, and I cried my eyes out for the longest that day until my mom said, "Hey, Courtney, her name is Courtney. Courtney is out there. You need to go out there and hang out with Courtney because she did show up for you." Now, she definitely did because she was me and my brother's friend. But he invited her. We had a whole conversation. We were trying to make sure that we can invite everybody that we wanted and all of these things. And I was like, PJ, invite Courtney on your invitations because I have to invite all of these people. And he did. And she came and she always showed up for me. Um, but anyways, so that alone just made it really uncomfortable for me to want people to show up. And I think the next week at school, no one said anything about not coming to my party. And it just made me feel small and forgotten about. And I was a very impressionable kid growing up. So things hurt me deeply. And I didn't know how to express them, especially to my parents. I didn't have the tools to say, hey, that hurt, or hey, why didn't you come to my party? So I can gain more insight on what was going on. So after 5th grade, me and my brother had more parties and all of that. But we never had parties for our birthdays. We started throwing end of the year bashes and invited people over. We would have sleepovers and all of these types of things. But birthday party, Tyra did not want to have. I was uninterested in it because I already know what happens when I invite people to a birthday party. So, fast forward to my sweet 16. I'm now 16 years old and I want to have another party. I wanted to be, this is when like my Super Sweet 16 was popular. So I really wanted to be like those people on the show. And I was terrified. I said, you know what? I'm going to have a Sweet 16, but I'm not going to have it for my actual birthday. Y'all, I didn't have my Sweet 16 until the February of the following year. And that was the little mind game that I played with myself for having something for my birthday. And while a lot of people did show up for me, in my head, okay, they only showed up because it wasn't my birthday. So I kept reinforcing this belief that my birthday is not important to people. People ain't gonna show up for me for my birthday because why? Why should they? Your birthday is your birthday, which it is. But my beliefs were rooted in fear and hurt. And I knew that I couldn't always be like that. So as we fast forward even more, I start to get boyfriends and things like that. For my 25th birthday, I went to Italy with the boyfriend that I moved out to Los Angeles with, and it was an amazing time. We did have a lot of fun, but I did that because I didn't want to do things with other people for my birthday. I knew that at the time he was my boyfriend, so it's like a given that we're going to celebrate my birthday. There is no doubt that we're going to celebrate my birthday in that situation. And for my 26th birthday, 3 years ago now, that same boyfriend threw me a surprise party and invited my best friend Bria and my friend Anastasia from college. I don't know if I've talked about her on the podcast actually, but one of my friends from college um, out to Palm Springs, and it was a complete surprise. And you guys, I was so uncomfortable because this was my actual birthday. I was so uncomfortable the entire time. I didn't really say anything, but the amount of discomfort I was experiencing made me say, okay, Tyra, we really have to figure out what is going on. I was so, like, I can't even explain with words, you guys. I was cringing the entire time. I'm like, oh my gosh, all of these people are here to celebrate me. When my birthday, when it was the 14th and, the clock struck 12, they started singing happy birthday and all of this stuff. And I was just really uncomfortable. And I said, Tyra, we have to check in with ourselves and see what it is actually going on because it's becoming physical now. First, it was in my mind and it was just a belief, but now I'm starting to feel it physically. Like my heart was racing, I was getting hot, my palms were sweaty, knees weak, arms heavy. Okay, I digress. Sorry, y'all. But that's what I mean. Like it started to get to a place where I was uncomfortable with continuing this path. So I had recently started therapy at the end of 2019, and after this birthday, I ended up telling my therapist about it and all of that stuff. And we're just, working through it at the time. And when my 28th birthday rolled around, I had another boyfriend by that time, and we just did a trip to San Diego. And I mentioned something like, this is the only type of thing I want to do for my birthday. I want to get away, just me, maybe my significant other, whatever. But that's all I want to do because birthdays are just too much. And when I said that, she was like, what do you mean birthdays are too much? So I gave her the whole rundown that I just gave y'all. And she said, I'm going to challenge you for your next birthday. You have an entire year, have a party. As soon as she said that, I said, no, I'm not having a party in my head. And I was like, we'll see. And she was like, Tyra, I really think this would be cathartic for you. And she just explained that it would be a very transformative and healing process. And for this entire year leading up to this birthday, I was shaking in my boots because I said, you know what, you're right. I really have to do this. But I did not want to do it, y'all. I was terrified. And in around June of this year, I finally said, okay, if I'm having a party, I got to plan it. I got to get it going. So I ended up planning my whole party. And the overall concept is called it was called Beignets and Bubbles. And the overall concept of the party was to have a party that I would have wanted when I was 11 years old, but just elevated because now I'm an adult. And when I say the party I had did that and more, it was, oh my gosh, I'm about to cry. It was one of the most healing moments of my life. I felt like a child. I felt loved. I felt just an overwhelming sense, like an overwhelming outpouring of love from all my friends who showed up. People showed up for me. And I was terrified that they would not. So that relief that they did, and then the fact that everyone had a good time, people gave me the most heartfelt cards. It was very healing for my inner child. We can do a whole episode on the details of the party and how cathartic it was for me. But for the purposes of this episode, that's all I want to say. Let me know if you guys want to know more in depth about the party itself. This portion of the episode is sponsored by AG1. As you guys know, I've been taking AG1 since last year as a part of my overall mission to live a healthier lifestyle as I get older. Now, I know I'm only in my late 20s, but health is super important to me, and AG1 makes it easy because it's a foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health, y'all. Now, before AG1, I was overwhelmed with figuring out what vitamins and nutrients I needed on a daily basis because let me be honest, who is trying to take 17 different pills and supplements every single day? Not me. But now that I take AG1, every morning I have one scoop, put it in some water, shake, and I drink it. AG1 replaces your multivitamin, probiotic, and more in one simple, drinkable habit. It's filled with over 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food source ingredients that keep my gut healthy, increases my mood, and most important to me, it gives me a peace of mind. I know that as long as I take AG1, I'm covered nutritionally no matter what goes on throughout the day. So if you want to take ownership of your health, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. So go to drinkag1.com/affirmations. That's drinkag1.com/affirmations. So make sure you check it out, and I've also linked it down in the show notes. Now back into the episode. So now that you know the full story, let's go through these questions really quickly. The first question that I wrote down to answer for you guys, and if you're in a space where you are also reclaiming your joy in a specific area of your life, whether it's just like me, reclaiming your joy surrounding you, celebrating you, or reclaiming your joy in other areas, think about how you can answer these questions for yourself to help you move towards that healing as well. So the first question is, what were the moments or experiences in your childhood that initially led to the belief that I was not that important? And can you recall any specific incidents that left a lasting impact on you? Well, we really already went through that, but the biggest moment was when the party that I had in fifth grade, we were in maybe like hour 2 of the party and no one had showed up for me. I was like, oh, wow, nobody's coming. And the amount of sadness that came over me was one, overwhelming, and two, it was immense. So when I was talking to my therapist about this specific incident, since I'm an adult now, she helped to take me through just processing why no one showed up that day and making sure that I am separating this experience from the overall belief that people don't show up for me, because I know people show up for me. but I have a deeply rooted belief that people don't really show up. So she just said, okay, think about who you were in fifth grade. Who were you hanging out with? And like I said to you guys, these were, um, for lack of better words, these were like, I was hanging out with bad kids. We didn't really do our homework. I was getting like low C's and D's. I actually got an F on a test when I was in the fifth grade. And just to bring it full circle for you guys, I'm very smart. I was valedictorian of my class. I had to say to myself when I was going into my fifth grade year, I said, I don't want to do this no more because I saw everyone going to the honor roll program one day. And back then, if you were not receiving an award, you didn't get to go to the honor roll programs. So I was with all of the kids who had lower grades. And that's the thing. Like you can make A's, B's, and C's, but if you made D's or F's, you could not go. So I was making D's and F's. And I said, I will never not be invited to an honor roll program again. And after that, I started making straight A's and I went on to become valedictorian of my class. So, through talking to my therapist, she was just saying, okay, think about the kids that you were hanging out with. Where are they now? And I said, well, they're living very different lives. A lot of them have a lot of babies. A lot of them are still in our hometown working at like McDonald's and all of this type of stuff. And not saying that that is innately bad, but we live two different types of lifestyles. And our upbringing was also a little different. So a lot of my friends back then lived in um, single parent households, which means maybe their parents had to work weekend jobs. Maybe they didn't have anyone to bring them to the party because we were in fifth grade. We can't drive. And once she started to share all of these other perspectives with me now, as a 28-year-old, I was like, wow, okay, I understand. And I think that was a very pivotal moment for me because even though I now have that perspective inside of me, I still have to go through the steps of healing that trauma that I had held on to, healing those scars that had been digging deeper into me since 2005. So, question number 2. How did the idea of celebrating your birthday as a means of healing come about? What prompted you to consider this approach? And how did you envision it as a path to reclaiming your joy? So, a better question for you guys, if you're following along and want to answer these questions, what ideas for celebration as a mean of healing come to mind when you think about your experiences and your wounds and your scars? In what ways can you reclaim your joy? What do you envision as the path to reclaim your joy? What's going to make you say, oh, yeah, if I do this, I know I'll probably be happy? What do those things look like? Now, for me specifically, my therapist, and I always talk about this, but I found my therapist through BetterHelp. So I highly recommend it. I have linked BetterHelp down below for you guys. Please give it a try. It's great if you've never tried therapy before. It was my first time trying therapy, and it was very easy to get into it because you don't have to do a video call. It could be a phone call. It could just be text. And there's groupinars and all types of things. So I definitely recommend you give it a try. Like I said, it's linked down below in the show notes. This is not sponsored by them, but it's linked down below in the show notes. Now, the idea came from my therapist, but she just said that I had to celebrate my birthday, have a birthday party of some sort. From there, I said, okay, what would actually be cathartic for me? And I came up with the idea to have a party that I would have wanted when I was younger. The whole idea of beignets and bubbles. I'm from Louisiana. Beignets are a popular fried treat in New Orleans and all through Louisiana. And then the bubbles aspect is champagne, popping champagne, celebration. So it was a Louisiana themed birthday party, and I wanted it to exude a backyard birthday party, but elevated. Since I live in Los Angeles now and I have, older friends, a lot of my friends are already in their 30s. I have older friends. I really wanted to just be this amazing day party vibe, but like scream childlike energy underneath it all. And I really think I accomplished that. So with this party, I said we have to have beignets. We have to have little things that remind me of Southern Louisiana, things that Tyra grew up with. So I had goodie bags because you can't have a birthday party as a kid without a goodie bag. What? So in the goodie bags, I gave Louisiana hot sauce, some sweet tea, a sticker, some pecan candy that my dad made, and all of these little pieces of me I was able to share with my friends here, and everyone loved them. They loved the goodie bags. They loved the overall experience. I had a bubble machine going. I had a photo booth. I just really wanted my childlike energy to come out to play. And it was very cathartic for me thinking about all of these things. Like, okay, when you have a birthday party when you're 12, yes, you want a goodie bag. Okay, what will that look like for a 29-year-old? Okay, we got to have bubbles. How you going to have a celebration without bubbles? The adult version, champagne bubbles. The childlike version, bubble bubbles. So we had a bubble machine and all of this. At Southern gatherings, we always have to have meatballs, okay? And deviled eggs. So those are on the menu. I hired one of my chef friends. She is amazing. Her name is Ashley. Her business is called Jerk Mother, and it's just amazing. The food was so good. We had crawfish, deviled eggs, and then these jalapeno whoopie pies. Y'all, it really just gave an elevated feel of a Southern backyard birthday party. My mom came, and I think that was the cherry on top for me because I had pieces of home. My best friend from high school, Daria, came. My best friend from college, Bria, came. People actually flew in for this party, and I did not expect them to. I didn't expect them to, not because I didn't think they would show up, but simply because they don't live in this area, right? So when they showed up for me, my mom, my best friend from high school, my best friend from college, it just took everything up a notch. My line sister also flew in, and it was just amazing to be loved in this way. Um, but that's how the idea came about, and I didn't envision it um like healing me the way it did in that exact way. I wish I could put it into better words for you guys. Okay, third question. Reflecting on the process of planning and experiencing your healing birthday party, what were the key insights and moments of transformation you encountered along the way? How did this celebration impact your perception of self-importance and your journey towards healing childhood wounds? So, I've already touched on I'm giving y'all these questions and I'll be answering them ahead of time. I The process of planning was very fun. I was excited to tell the story of my childhood and put little Easter eggs throughout the birthday party. And the experience of healing came mainly when I showed up at the party and everybody was telling me how much of a good time they were having. The food was good, the drinks were great, the atmosphere was great. It was also like a theme party. So you had to dress up like Kentucky Derby tea time attire. Everybody was on theme. But the biggest thing for me that I feel like transformed it for me um was my gift from my best friend Bria. So throughout the party, and she posted this on her TikTok. I'm actually going to link it down below so you guys can actually watch her TikTok because it's just so amazing. But her gift to me was heartfelt notes from all of my friends. And oh God, y'all, I'm not trying to cry on this podcast. When I say I needed that, I needed that so bad. And I'm so grateful that my best friend knew that. And now I have all of these cards from all of my friends that just say that I am loved, that they love me. And childhood trauma and scars and all of this stuff are just so complex and they can be very sticky to navigate. And I say that this is the most transformative part of it because I literally boohooed like a baby after my party was over, you guys, because I was just overwhelmed with love. And I felt like that 11-year-old girl that didn't have anybody show up for her. I felt her there, and I was just so joyous. I was just so appreciative that people showed up for me. And it is honestly one of the best days of my life. My mama was there. We got to spend my last year of my 20s, bringing in the last year of my 20s together. And it was just the most beautiful moment of my life so far. And I physically felt myself releasing that idea that I'm not important. And I am just so grateful to Bria, to my mom, to my best friends that flew in, to everybody that came to my party, because I cannot express just how momentous this occasion was. And I am grateful to everyone who was a part of making it that, who was a part of healing my inner child and helping baby Tyra have the birthday party that she always wanted. As we draw the curtains on this chapter of my journey, I'm left with a profound realization. It was crucial to reclaim my joy through the act of celebrating me. You see, for much of my life, I carried the weight of unworthiness, a belief that had been etched into my soul through the absence of so called friends. I unknowingly gave these friends at such a young age so much power over my worth. Celebrating me was important because it allowed me to rewrite my own narrative. It was a declaration to myself and the world that I am important, that my joy matters, and that my presence deserves to be celebrated whether there are people around or not. This party wasn't just about candles and confetti. It was about shedding the layers of doubt, fear, and old wounds. By embracing the celebration of my 29th birthday, I stepped into the light of self worth and resilience. I realized that I'm the author of my own story, and I have the power to rewrite the script. Reclaiming my joy through this party was a transformative act of self love. It was a reminder that healing is possible, sometimes uncomfortable, but very rewarding. And joy is a birthright that we all deserve. So, as we part ways today, I invite you to reflect on your own journey. Consider the moments in your life where your joy may have been stolen, may have taken a back seat, or maybe has just been dimmed. And ask yourself, how can you reclaim it? Remember that you are important, you are worth celebrating, and your presence in this world is a gift. Let's continue to heal, grow, and reclaim the joy that is rightfully ours. You are oh so deeply loved. Uh-oh, you guys, you know what time it is. It is time for our fun closing segment. Today, we're going to bring back a segment that I have not done in a while. I think it is perfect for this episode since we are talking about healing old wounds. We're going to bring back letters to me. So today, I have written a short letter to 11-year-old Tyra. That is 2005 Tyra, the Tyra who just endured this terrible day in her life. So, here goes. Hey, Titi Bop. Ooh, it has been so long since since I said that. It's 29-year-old Tyra checking in from 2023. That sounds so far away, right? Guess what? Well, first, we live in Los Angeles. Can you believe that? And we just did something super exciting. Well, you may not think it's exciting right now, but we had another party. And yes, it was actually for our birthday. And over 50 people came to celebrate us. Mom was there and so many friends that you will meet later on in your journey. Girl, it was an amazing day. I know what just happened hurts, but trust me, this one day makes up for all of it. It's okay to be sad and upset that none of your friends showed up for you, but what if I told you in a couple of years, you're going to meet one of your best friends, and she's going to be at your 29th birthday? What if I told you that this party that I just had would be Louisiana themed, and it would be a more fun version of the party that you just had? Tyra, everything happens for a reason, and I want you to know that you are loved, even if it doesn't seem like it right now. You are literally the coolest and smartest girl I know, and if I weren't you, I would want to be your best friend, girl. What if I told you that I was still afraid about this party, and I was afraid that it would end up just like the one you just had, but I continued to push through? Tyra, this was one of the most healing moments of our life. I laughed, I cried, and I felt like a child again. So don't sit in what just happened. You have a million great things in your near future. So cry it out, let it go, and keep being authentically you. Because this experience is building you into who you need to be. And F those girls that didn't come to our party. We stopped talking to them as soon as we got to middle school anyway. I love you. You are loved deeply. Feel all the feels, good and bad. And please, try to enjoy the ride. You guys, this has been an amazing episode. I hope you enjoyed this real chat. That is all that I have for you today. Join us again next week for a new episode. Actually, join us again on Wednesday because Pep Talk Wednesday is coming back. Just in case you guys did not realize by this episode, I have been deep into birthday planning mode, so I haven't posted episodes in the last couple of weeks. I apologize for that, but we will be having a Pep Talk Wednesday episode on Wednesday. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast, rate it, review it, and follow us on IG at Affirmations for Black Girls, on YouTube at Affirmations for Black Girls as well, and on X. I don't know when they're going to change that, but we're also Affirmations for Black Girls on there and on Threads. Or no, listen, I'm rusty. Follow us on X at AFBG_podcast and on Threads at Affirmations for Black Girls. I also have some newsletters coming for you guys soon, so be on the lookout for that. If you have not joined our newsletter, it is linked down below. Go ahead and join it. We have some fun stuff coming up. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my healing journey that has just happened over the past 2 weeks. Thank you guys for still rocking with me. And if you have anything that you would like to share, shoot me an email at affirmationsforblackgirls@gmail.com, or you can DM us on the Affirmations for Black Girls Instagram. Please do not DM my personal page. It is swamped over there. DM the Affirmations for Black Girls Instagram if you want to talk to me via DM on Instagram. But other than that, I'll see you in my inbox. Thank you guys so much. This is Affirmations for Black Girls.